Yes, everybody was the West End. Sorry, I was late. My mind was elsewhere. I was sitting there doing something else for another little show I'm going to do later on this week, and I thought, do you know what? Oh, what's the time? Oh shit, it's 5. I do apologise. If you're new around here, please forgive me. I'm not usually as late as that, and don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. All that good stuff. Obviously, we won another game. We did the what's his name? Evangelos double, didn't we? Beating Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest in 1 week. And then we go into the international break in the top half of the table. There you go. Let's have a look at the comments. See who we got. Loads of comments because I was late, obviously. Good afternoon, Mike. Hope you're well. Madison out. Cool Object doesn't stand a chance on Southgate, a bit like our youth system. I'm doing a bit of analysis about our youth system, Michael, which I'll put out maybe in the next couple of days. It's quite interesting stuff. Always be a bridesmaid. Cole Palmer was at Chelsea for 70 odd days and gets in the team over JWP. I smell a conspiracy. Maybe on TalkSport, interview Moyes, he says he's excited about working in the future. West Ham says we are surprised Moyes hasn't had a new contract. What a load of mixed messages. We can talk about that. It's well, still, obviously. Russie B. Had a nice little chat with Will yesterday. We can talk about that as well if you want. Moyes has 26 games left in the Prem. I don't think so, Michael, because according to Dave Moyes himself, he's not. He wants to carry on managing, so he could well still be in the Premier League. Maybe not at West Ham. But, you imagine if Everton or if there's a job needing for a firefighter, David Moyes ain't going to be a bad shout, to be honest. Probably get offered a new deal once we find our Europa League group. I think if he wins the Europa League, he might get offered a new deal. That's probably about it. Was it me or did Kudus look uninterested yesterday? Was his best game? Didn't seem to be slightly at the races. I think he got double marked out of the game, to be honest. But we'll talk about him in a bit. Everyone is playing too deep for my liking. I agree. Let's just see anyone else new. James Bong, the Messiah, shone up from his disciples and positively shot down Judas. 10 course lunch always makes you late. I wish I had time for lunch, my friend. Spitting feathers at Soucek halftime yesterday afternoon, indeed. Give the old button a like, why don't you? Afternoon, Matt, afternoon, surreal. How many passes did Soucek make for you in first half? You only need one hand. We back off too much defensively. I think Steve Cooper did as well, to be honest. I think they went 2-1 up and they went a bit West Ham-y, in all honesty. But he did score the winner, indeed. Have you tried swinging for that chandelier? No. Docky would have been a great signing. Gutted we missed out on him, but West Ham or Man City, who would you go for? Anyone that had potato salad today would be good and not played any Prem teams, so he's raw and teams won't want revenge, as I feel it would be a steal. It's an interesting one with Will. I'm going to talk about him a bit more tomorrow morning. In terms of my thought, I think there's people have mixed opinions in terms of who the next manager of West Ham who they will be. There is two sort of two schools of thought in terms of who it should be, who it shouldn't be. I think based on what we're doing, I think is definitely one trail that they want us to look at. But we'll see that. James Ward-Prowse should have been. Will was at the game. He was. He talked exclusively to Russie B. I think I was the only fuck who recognised him, to be honest. And we had a good old chat about stuff. A good chat about stuff, and we'll leave it at that. Friend of the channel, Will. There's two schools of thought. I did a little video and people went, oh, shock, West Ham fan goes to game. There is, but there's a lot of coincidences. and then it's one, but there was there was several coincidences lined up last week. The TalkSport thing about Moyes not getting unlikely to be signed and to be given a new contract. One. Next day, Will Steele does a big article in the French media, and they ask him about West Ham. Now I know from personal experience that that Rem are basically telling him not to talk about West Ham anymore because they're so pissed off with the rumours. But basically, Will has said in this article, in his interview, that he wants to see the season out with Rem. But he's, the child in him wants to go back to London, wants to go to the Premier League. That's coincidence 2. Coincidence 3. He was at the game yesterday. Coincidence 4. He was sat 2 rows behind where the coaching staff sit. So basically, half of Moyes' coaching staff at the pitch side, other half are up in the press box. He was about 2 rows behind them. I think there was the coaching staff like Mo Robson, that bot. Then they had Bianca and Perry Grove doing something with TalkSport, I think. And then the one behind was Will Steele. Coincidence 5. As I was chatting to him, we then walked down. I stopped. I carried on walking, and he was not behind me when he walked. We was at the concourse, the second bit where the director's thing is, and then I turned around after. I said, "See you later, mate." Shook his hand. I thought he was going to follow me down, and be that sort of quite embarrassing turn around. Oh, sorry again, mate. Wasn't anywhere to be seen. Vanished into thin air. 6 coincidences. Russ, how do I send you my email? westham@gmail.com. John, send us that and we'll get that picture sent out to you that you won on Friday. Congratulations on that. Have I got the thing here anywhere? Have I got the email address? westham@gmail.com. Send us that, John. Send us your postal address and I'll get it sent out. There's a load of stuff I've got to send it anyway, so I can get it done this weekend as we've got a free weekend, don't we? 2 free weekends. Can you imagine how good we could be with a half-decent striker? So many chances. Evening, Russ. I'm that late. The Moyes Bum Boys out in force just came out of my Moyes tactical coma. Now we have to put up with Southgate. I just ignore. I don't watch. The only thing I'm going to do with England is probably glance, because we're playing Malta, North Macedonia. The chances are Bone will get some game time at least in one, if not both games. So I think what I'm going to do is just glance over the team sheet at the end, see when the substitutions happen, and just make sure he wasn't injured. Notes should definitely get a big deal in my opinion. Notes? Who's Notes? Who is Moyes out? Cheryl knows he is. Fair play to carrying on to get the win after going behind. Yeah, shows some resilience, indeed. The Rent boys are in the house. Needs a couple of years before he comes of it. Does he though, Michael? Does he? We hear from a number of fan bases how Tim Steidham plucked Xabi Alonso from relatively obscurity from managing the Real Sociedad B team. No first team experience, no La Liga managerial experience. That was his first managerial position, and then thrusted into the Bundesliga top job by Leverkusen, and where Will has season and a half under his belt in terms of Rem. Don't know. 1 year ago, I wanted Moyes out, still in the league, not good enough, and we are still 4 players short for me. We want a young, expansive manager who can get the best out of the players. And I'm going to suggest, Kent, we want a young head coach, not a manager. And that's what I'm going to talk about tomorrow morning. Maybe Will turned up on purpose just to try and boost his wish to manage. Possibly. I mean, for someone who's meant to be keeping it on the down low about the whole West Ham thing, he then was, he's got a shock of ginger hair. It's not exactly hard to miss. Didn't wear a hat or anything, or a hoodie if he was being incognito. Didn't put it on fucking Instagram as well. So maybe he is flashing his knickers. Maybe he is. Oh Oh, brilliant. My she's watching now. My floor manager at West Ham is bored. She's got 2 weeks without, well, actually 3 weeks without me in terms of the next West Ham game, and she's watching. So hi, Jane, love you. Big fan. Sorry, I didn't want Moyes out. I'm still 100% behind him. Will he come or will he stay or will he still be manager of him? I think we do some good things. Still want Moyes out. Fair enough. Don't care who he is. Change the record, please. Someone said it. I was watching something. Who was I watching? It was and I think it was, might have been Fortran, might be Steve 50. And he said he wasn't Moyes in or Moyes out. He was Moyes neutral. And that's because actually, when you see all the polls are like, are you Moyes in or Moyes out? But actually, I think because naturally, and being a market researcher by trade, you've put someone into making a decision whether it's this or that, it's left or right. But if you had a scale, are you Moyes out or are you Moyes in or are you neutral? I think you're going to get quite a lot of people in that middle ground and then the extremes. Yeah, maybe we'll get Anton to that. Toby's bored of everything. That's all about the notepad I won. Haven't slept since I won it. There we go, mate. Well, it'll be winning its way to you. Just send us that. We can get it sorted. I like the fact that knows our play as well, and we'll know how he wants to play me. He's a West Ham fan. Is he in relation to John still? I don't think so. True. I've gone beyond caring now, but I still throw the old ones up for fun. Everyone's here. Nice to see. It was boring. Even Moyes himself said it was boring yesterday. Even Moyes himself said at parts of that first half, it was boring. It was. Totally agree. Even Potter. Look, when they brought Potter in originally, he was plucked on the Swedish league. So, and that's the way that's why modern football is going. It's not about having a sort of a manager now. It's more about having a director of football, and sort of managerial staff, and then having a head coach. And so that's the way football's going in general. I'm old school. When I said manager, I want a coach to work under team in perfect harmony. I know, and philosophy made by the club. Yeah. And for me, that's I think is the definition is head coach. That's clearly, I think, the next appointment after Moyes, whenever that will be. Whether it's end of the season, whether he's offered a new deal, and then that deal, there will be a new manager sometime in the future. And I think it would be a younger manager. I wouldn't think it would be someone who's sort of established already, like I don't know, probably like anyone in the Premier League, for example. It'd be someone who's relatively young. And also, I think someone who's relatively suited to the continental style of football management in terms of having a director of football and then having a head coach as well. Did you see what Zerby said about English refs? Nope, I didn't. I don't think Moyes sets out to play crap. It's also Matt, I agree. I think there's some direction from the manager, because there should be, but I think the players on the pitch, if they're not delivering, then I think it's up to the manager to change things around them and put on players who will work with what he's trying to achieve. So, but I totally agree. Right, let's do the ratings. As I said, always the day after, the night before, we do the ratings where we put together, I give you my views and you disagree with them. That's basically what happens. Right, let's start with Areola, Alphonse Areola, back between the sticks. Obviously, Lucas Fabianski was captain on Thursday, kept a clean sheet as well. And as we assumed, Areola was back between the sticks. Made a fantastic save, couple of good saves actually. Really good save from Teo Iwani, who I think is a fantastic player. I really want Teo Iwani at West Ham. I think he would do really well for us, to be honest, really well. And yeah, thought he had a really good game. Don't forget to put your scores in the comments. Obviously, there's no points for half points in this game, as you well know. Let's have a look, see what we've got. Let's go. What we got here? What we got here? If you're a traditional manager, then they have everything to do. You must mean spread yourself thinly. I totally agree. Sadly, there's no neutral Ross, as much as keeps telling us. As neutral Ross, as much it's either always in or out. Well, I think there is. I mean, obviously, for me, it's always whoever's in. And actually, Steve 50 made a really good point. Whoever is in between whoever's in the dugout gets his full support. That's me as well. After the game's different. You can talk about whether that was right, that decision was wrong, but during the games, same as the 11 people he puts on the pitch. I mean, for a lot of people, they were unhappy that Thomas Soucek played, but I thought he had a good game. I thought he played all right. And again, football is all about opinions, isn't it? So, anyway, 6 a bit flappy. Yeah, bit of flappy. 7, 8, 6, 8. Never going to mention it. I believe Kent, he's the manager of Bournemouth. Sorry, I'm joking. I know you wrong one mistake. 1 worldie, few good saves, 7. Goal's not his fault. Should have held on to the ball for the equaliser. 5. So 7 from Ludders. Not even gonna look at Jay's score with any sort of decent clarity because of that, because there's no half points in this game. Russie B gave him I gave him a 7. Thought he had a good game, solid game. Let's talk about Vladimir Soufal, rated man of the match by the sponsors yesterday on the game. Slightly surprising. I think they meant to say Thomas Soucek, to be honest, but I thought he struggled quite a bit, to be honest. Couple of good crosses, particularly first half. There was a lovely cross he put over to Emerson rather, who had a great. Well, if he hit it first time, it would have been a great goal. But unfortunately, he sort of hit his side foot a bit. But I thought he played a good game. Equalised with his fault. I'm always out, but whilst in the ground, I'm back the place. Yeah, fair enough. 6, 5, torn apart. I thought he was torn apart by Elanga particularly. When he's up against genuine pace, he does get shown up. But when that particular winger isn't, I mean, he can shift. Soufal can shift, but not to the state. I mean, Anthony Elanga was really, really, really fast. God loves a try, indeed. 7, 7, 6. 7, 5, 6, 5. Elanga roasts him like a turkey. What's with us and shooting at the moment? I don't know, lads. It's not good enough anymore, but not his fault. Russie B gave a 5. Maybe, yeah, 5. Yeah, I'm sticking by it 5. I'm going to stick by 5. Let's move on like Donkey Kong and talk about Kurt Zouma. Obviously back in the side. I was a little surprised he was going to be back in. I thought he might have been rested given the international break and then be back. But back and captaining the side again. Obviously 3 games out with an knee injury. He didn't look fit to me. But then he never looks fit to me. He always looks like he's just about to fall over. Even when he walks on the pitch, he looks like he's going to fall over. God bless him. But I thought he played, it was okay. Personally, I like the combo of Aged and Mavropanos now. I think you've got 2 very mobile centre backs. You've also got a pair of centre backs who can both have a nice range of passing. Don't think Zouma has it. He's always quite laboured when he has the ball, and he doesn't tend to do anything more apart from hit it to Soufal or goes back to Areola or goes across to Aged. Where Aged gives you a different option: drop a shoulder, or he'll do some lovely crossfield passes, which he did last year, which he did yesterday as well. What we got, Vlad seems to be extra forwards. He got 1 ripped by there, indeed. 5, 6, okay, 6, 6. Kurt, I need crutches. Zouma 6, 6, 6. Not fit for that game and turns like a wardrobe with 8 pace. 5, 6, 6, 6. Looks slow again on one leg. King and McGrath comes to mind. He is caught at a lot. Yeah. And talk about Ledley King and Paul McGrath as well. In case of anyone at a certain vintage kid doesn't know who the F you're talking about. But yeah, for me, it's like, if someone came in for money for him from the Saudi Pro League, which allegedly they were looking to do, I think it would make sense to cash in. I don't think you're going to get many more seasons consistently with Kurt Zuma. He just seems is that the years are catching up with him a little bit on his knees more than anything. Which is a shame because he's a great player and he actually does in a weird way complement again because he's more of a old school defender. Not like Anton suggested today this morning that we need like a no nonsense defender like a Craig Dawson, which I think we do, but he's sort of halfway there. Which is a shame because he's a great lad as well. You see the way he interacts with the rest of the team as well when they're walking around getting their dinners and stuff. In terms of anything the club are doing in terms of training and all that behind the scenes stuff. He's really good. I gave Kurt a 6. 6. I thought it was fair score for Kurt. Let's talk about Nath. Obviously, ever present last few games. Love the way he passes. Got such a nice switch of pace. Switches played lovely. Probably spent more time on the ball than usual, and I like that. It shows confidence to me. It shows, and also a few times he dropped the shoulder and sort of ran forward the ball. He took a massive whack on the back of the head, didn't he? Quite late on. Actually, just after the goal, I think it was it Soucek actually injured him going for the header. So, I thought he played okay. I thought Nath played all right. In the chart, let's have a look in the thing. I was sell Kurt in January. One leg and captain the team. If Kurt went to Saudi, we might get our money back. He was pissed when having the ball to distribute. Yeah, he's just look a bit. There's a couple of times he just looks so uneasy with the ball. Bless him. We put an Oggy instead of Mavropanos, so glad it didn't backfire. I was really surprised that they brought on Oggy. In all honesty, for Mavropanos, but I think Oggy's basically sat in the middle and they played 3. As a 3, Oggy can sit there. But ideally, I'd like Kurt to sit there and Mavropanos to go on the right if they were playing a 3. But there we go. Old man 6 for Aged 7 7 7 switches passes look great when they come off 6 bit. But a worrying hick happened. 7 for Nathan. Not convinced gets a 5. Glad and Ariel act like enemies. There is still a bit in it. I think there's a reason why Gaird's been playing well in the cup competitions. I think it's because Ariola's in between the sticks. And that's just my opinion. And a few times you can see everyone turning around to each other going, that type of thing. We've got 7, 7, 8 for Kent because Mav not playing always on the cover for Kurt. His range of passing would be a good sweeper. After the Budgie, you've given Aged a 7 as well as all the other scores. Appreciate it. Russie B gave Nath a 6. That's a bit harsh. I'll go 7. Yeah, I'll go 7. I've been swayed. Let's talk about Emerson. Again, last couple of games, he hasn't. Half of his game's been really good, and then he sort of has half which isn't as good. And he got caught out a couple of times by Gibbs White, particularly when he got the jump on him in the build-up to the equaliser. But in the attacking sense, he almost scored twice yesterday, and he's left back. I think he's a great player. I think he's one of the most under the radar type players we have at West Ham. Really think he's been our most consistent player this season. And if they did he would probably get my underrated Hammer of the Year award. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's not going to get the plaudits because he's not scoring the goals, but he does a lot. He does a lot for that side. 6 was Emerson. 7, 6, 7, 8. Because he's my favourite player in the squad. Fair enough. Gets an 8. We look different with him. Totally agree. Lake and Palmer, Emerson. Not very good last few games indeed. I think got a better in terms of probably not the best bet for Agüero, to be honest. For a Paqueta, to be fair, he's a better left winger than Benny. Fair enough, because he always does 2 jobs and spreading himself too thin. Most reliable now in the team. I agree. Probably one of the best left backs in the league. I've said it. Probably is at the moment. G'day, James. And 7 from Matt. Rusty B gave Everton a 6. It was his best game, but, a competent game. Let's talk about Edson Alvarez. I think for me, he was more, where I think, and someone made a good point, I can't remember who it was the other day, talking about how against Olympiacos, and James watching, so I'm calling it Olympiacos, not Olympiacos. Where for against Olympiacos, he was very much, I think once he got, I think it might be Kent or someone, once he got that booking, JWP did the donkey work, so to speak, and Edson was doing the more attacking work, and that didn't really favour either man, to be honest. Whereas yesterday he didn't get books, which is good, and I thought he was better in the defensive role. I thought he wasn't. It was his best game, but it was more in the suited role, and so was. Oh, sorry. Is that better? Yeah, is that better? But yeah, I think he was a lot better. Sorry about that. It's because it was down here for some reason, and now it's back up here. There we go. 6, 7, 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7. Also, apologise. I'm not in the Budden bunker today, but Mrs. Budden's bought loads of stuff for Christmas, so I'm staying here, acting as the fucking postal service. It seems. 7. 7, just sit back and hold the line, just in front, don't go wandering, and JDLP go. I totally agree. Yep, so that's now 7 in 15 now. He had 7 in 14, so 7 in 15. 8, Jay gives him 6. You need to go to Thunderbird school to use your mic in these. Thunderbirds, I'll go. Doug, hope you're my friend. Hope the baby's well. Great game, Super Sunday. Indeed, it was. Hope you're well, man. Hope the little one is well. I gave Edison a 7. 7. Oh, poor old. God rest his soul. Old Len Goodman, former West Ham fan as well. Let's talk about JWP. 2 more assists for him, which is basically up to 11 goal involvements since signing for Southampton, which is mental when you think about it. We've played 12 games now in the Premier League, and he's got 11 goal involvements. That is crazy. It's crazy. That is almost 1 a game. I've done the maths. It is almost 1 a game. He's been off the ball the last couple of weeks. I thought Olympiacos, the energy levels were back up, and yesterday rather, I thought his passing was his dead ball situations, set pieces were a lot better. Olympiacos again could have had 3 goals before half time, and for something like James give him a 10. There we go. She's rather than just go on the live chat, don't matter. So he gives him that. I'm giving Rusty's almost yawning 9. Yeah, I didn't. I admit, I did yawn in the first half, but so did David Moyes. Don't your gatements? They're off on Mondays. Maltese Hammer. I give them Mondays off, just like the hairdressers. They get Sunday, Monday off, then back to it. 7, 8, 9 a man a match if he says otherwise he wouldn't have won a game. Yep, 9, 8, 8. Done what we got him to do. 8, little one's good, great to know, man. Hope you're getting some sleep. 7, deserves a call up. He was never going to get a call up because Madsen is more employed on the left, on the side, and Cole Palmer's probably a better, more. He's one for the future, isn't it? So JWP, unless he carries on, if he ends up with 40 goal involvements this season, Southgate can't ignore him, surely. A good return. What's crazy, some people didn't want him before he signed. A lot of people didn't change their mind, 8, 8, 7. He's in a more advanced role. I totally agree, Ken. I think he was stifled, but I think he was stifled when he plays too deep because Alvarez always gets that booking and sort of like, you should be more advanced because you're not going to do as much tackling defensively. came alive and Forest backed off. Good evening, Happy Hammerette. Good afternoon. Hope you're well. Rusty B gave JWP 8, and he was my man of the match. It's the man of the match. Very good. Let's move on like Donkey Kong and talk about Tommy Soucek. Ooh, potato salad himself. Bagged himself a goal in the old onion bag, didn't they? In the old onion bag. Preferred to Ben Rama in midfield. They rejigged the midfield a bit. I think some people were a bit frustrated by that. Me personally, I thought it was a better idea. I thought it was quite a good idea by Moisey, in all honesty, because we look a little bit light in midfield. I think when we play just two, I think with Tommy Soucek there as well, it look a lot more solid as a unit. He missed a couple of chances. He hit the bar as well, and he was acting, particularly with Bowen up front. You do need a little bit of physicality. So he's basically Moyes' new Fellaini, isn't he? So he always played as a 10, to be perfectly honest. He did hit the bar, and then his header. Then he got just before the goal, there was another corner, and the keeper tipped it over the bar, and then brave header as always. You can get Tommy Soucek. You're going to get somebody who's going to put his head where others don't put their heads, and he did, so much so that he almost knocked out Naya Figuered, but he scored. And do you know what? He got involved in quite a lot. There was a lovely little pass in the first half. I don't know if you remember it. He was just outside the box. He did a lovely dink through ball to Jarrod Bowen, who got pushed off the ball by Nketiah. But I thought he was really good. I think it was his best game. I think it was his best game for us this season. It's not saying much about Tommy, but I think that was his best game this season for us. And obviously, when the sub happened and they took off Alvarez for Soucek, I was a bit, what's going on here? Because, but then Soucek, it was going to go even more sort of one directional, even more, corners, set pieces, and Soucek's more effective than an Edson Alvarez. Simples, and it paid off. If he didn't, people would have slated Moyes even more, because they would have done. Let's have a look. What we got? 7, 9, 6, but only for the goal. 1 T, not 2. 7, 7, 8, 7. We'd run through a brick wall to get his head in the ball. You totally agree. Nigel Watts, hello, Nigel. 7, 6, 6. Should have scored a hat trick, could have done. They Moyes made a silly mistake taking off Alvarez of him. Fair play, he got it right. Big Tom, 7 would have been a 5 out of goal. He's endurance runner, the football papers all over his poor all-round play. Yeah, but he's always been poor in terms of his all-round play. I thought he was a lot better than he has been yesterday. Needed more intensity from the team. I totally agreed. Moyes himself, as I said, he said he was bored in that first half. We all were bored in that first half. And then the frustration thing is, why can't you do what we did for the first 15 and the last 25 minutes more consistently throughout the game? Because I think you'd blow teams away. What we got here? Made 4 passes in the first half. New celebrations 2.5. Now he's off his rocker. Loves a little spinny thing, doesn't he? Makes us more solid. Wherever you're on, I want some. I think he does, Derek. I think he makes us more solid than putting Ben Rama on. True. Defensively, are we better with a 6'4" and from a set play perspective, having a 6'3", 6'4", defensive midfield on than Ben Rama? Possibly. That seems right. Does Norm does 8 per game. Spinning round like his goal celebration. Tommy Soucek, I'll give him a 6. That's a good score for Tommy. Let's talk about there's no one better than Lucas Paqueta, our Brazilian magnifico. Obviously, favoured him more with a midfield, like a 10 role, rather than put on the left. That's why I quite like having Soucek there as well. Obviously, scored in the first few minutes. His second goal in as many games. The flicks and tricks were there, but also there was a real doggedness about him, even more so getting the ball back, I do like the way he gets the ball back. I do like the way that he goes on a mad one and sort of puts a tackle in which maybe shouldn't do, or I love the theatrics. I know some people get pissed off of them. I think that's what you get with a player like Paqueta. You get the theatrics. You get don't forget, people forget Paolo Di Canio. That's literally was why people loved Paolo Di Canio, because of all the theatrics as well as the skill, and the heart. And I think you get that from Lucas. Maybe not to the extent of a Di Canio, but it's a similar sort of, what's the word? Sort of these what's the word? Enigma players. He could go missing for 2 days, for 2 games, and then he could win the next 4 games on his back. You know what I mean? And he does make mistakes, but it's because he's trying things. And sometimes he does give the ball away a little bit too much. And sometimes I would love him to not do those tricks in our half if possible. But then you want to be entertained, don't you? 9, 7, 7 is Moyes was rating the ref, I reckon. Give him a 2. He's going nuts. He certainly was. And Kevin Nott'M. 6, 6, 7, 6, 6. What else we got here? 6, 7, 9. A few mistakes, but fights hard to make things happen. 7 seemed frustrated, lost the ball too much. 7 worked hard. 8 just for the goal. I was a bit drunk, I forgot my bins, but I do remember him playing well and a sweet strike. 9, 8, a real fighter. I'm a bit worried about his antics lately. I know it's part of his game, but it gets to me. 8, 7, like the stream, like Enigma says. I gave him a 7. And a couple more players. Let's talk about Mohamed Kudus. Obviously, again, he's someone who's now he's in the side, like Alvarez. He's not been dropped because we're a better side with him than without him. Yesterday wasn't his game. It wasn't his game yesterday. Lost the ball a few times, and particularly when he lost the ball. And I mean, he lost the ball in terms in the midfield, which led to the leveller. But he got booked for being getting a bit OTT a little bit. OTT. But I thought he was. I mean, basically, he was doubled up. I mean, basically, the defense. We said this on the stream after the show, after the game, that he was very much. You could see they were targeting him, and he will be targeted now. He's shown what he can do, and he's shown what a good player he is, and so he's been targeted now. So you get in situations now where he's going to be doubled up, which means you've got to move players around. Got to move Bowen, and they did that. They did it for the Olympiacos game as well. Moved Bowen to the right hand side, put Kudus up front, and it was made it more fluid. But it's not his best game. But when he has the ball, he always looks dangerous. Always looks dangerous. What we got here? 6. Bit late to play. I like to say Soon was awful and played a huge part. Thank you. 6. Thank you, MATR 1912. 6. Just the usual. All real stuff. Mills, yeah. Doubled up on him like Antony used to. 5. Too many forward backward passes. 6. Thought he was poor, but still battled. Yeah, I mean he still gets a 6, but it wasn't his best game for us. Was quiet, defended well. I love the potential he's got. Exciting player. 5. I can see him going downhill. Hope not. 6, 5, 6. Could do 7. Too deep, covering yellow cards affecting his game, but he's still trying to influence the game. His strength is unbelievable. He's so hard to push off the ball. He always has a couple of guys on him, doesn't he? And he always seems to do well. I gave Kudus 6. Not a great game for him, but still he had a good go. Let's go finally with Jared. Obviously, call up to England squad. So obviously we're playing these. I imagine he'll definitely probably start. I reckon he'll start the Malta game. Maybe go and be on the bench for Macedonia potentially. Might start both. You never know. I think he struggled, particularly the first half. I think to get involved centrally, and I think again it's a factor of people. The fact is, Zuma. This is like. Was this the first game that Zuma's played with Bowen up front on his own? I think so. Because Zuma's stock ball is long up front punt to Antonio to chase. And Bowen was doing a lot of that. We were a lot better when we started to play with the ball on the floor, using our pace. Tight, quick crossfield ball, man running off. We were starting to get a lot more joy. But Bowen was really struggling, I think. But scored an absolute cracker of a header. You watch the highlights, and that header was perfect. An absolute perfect header for him. And, I can see the reasoning why Moyes wants to employ him as a central forward. But I think the fact is, if you have him and Kudus playing, and Paqueta, you've got the ability to move the pieces around. And that to me is really exciting because it makes it really impossible for defences to man mark players. And if they do man mark them, they're out there. They might be out of position for the likes of JWP to come through, or Emerson to cut in, or Soufal to overlap, and people like that. 8 would struggle without him in goals, indeed. 8, 7 for bullseye, 7, 8. Bowen, a little guy, didn't he leap like a salmon? He did. Ghanaians are renowned for their inner strength. There we go. 7, 9, 8 Premier League goals can return so far. 8, 7, leapt like a salmon. Feel sorry for Bowen first half. Amos punts forward, lead the ball up the wing for the little man. You're totally right. 8, game of 2 halves. 7, 8, 7. Dyer mates, very good. Struggles when opponents sit deep. 8, Danny Dyer, 10 for making him sign for life. If we stop the goals going in, we'll give the team more confidence to go forward. Yeah, fair play, Peter. Fair play. I gave Bowen a 7. Obviously, Antonio came on. Not gonna mark him, and not gonna mark Angelo Ogbonna because I just marked the first 11, and that was the what's names. That was the ratings. Now we'll be back in a couple of hours' time, talking about the international break, talking about which players have been called up, that type of thing, talking about people like Flynn Downs, talking about people like Andre from Premierleague, and then all that good stuff. Keep on our channel. We've got loads of stuff coming up. We've got some really nice interviews lined up over the week. To keep you ticking over with your West Ham content while there's no games on. Because believe me, by the time Burnley comes around, there is literally so many games coming up. I think we've got, is it 8, 7 in December? I think it is. There's one point we have 4 games in 9 days. So you won't have to worry about any content then, that's for sure. Where is it? Let's just check here. So we got Burnley on the Saturday, and then we've got Topola, and obviously people forget the whole thing around the Europa Group standings. It's not goal difference; it's on head-to-heads. After points, it's head-to-heads. So we are in a fantastic position, regardless of losing to Olympiacos. We're in a fantastic position. We beat Topolo, even if Freiburg beats Olympiacos. We only need a draw against Freiburg to win the group. Even if they win, they have to win by more goals than we scored. Do we win? Was it 2-0 or 2-1? Actually, no, it probably won't work. After that, it goes to goal differences. But we're in a fantastic position, because that head-to-head, they will need to. That's going to be a really exciting game, that Freiburg game. Really exciting. But no, I haven't, Danny. I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to actually tell a lie. I'm doing it this weekend, Danny, because I haven't got any time until the weekend. But without West Ham, get a little bit of free time. Although Mrs. Budden, I'm sure she's got a list of me things to do. Go beat him against TSB. No, I don't think we can afford to. Because after Thursday, we've got TSB. Yes, we've got Burnley, TSB. Then on the Sunday, we've got Crystal Palace. Then we've got Spurs away the following Thursday. And then we've got Sunderland. On the Sunday, we've got Fulham. Then we've got Freiburg. Then we've got Wolves. Then we've got, this is just in December, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games in December. Woo! And then win the Cup of Nations, 13th of January. 13th of January. So, yeah, a lot. And that goes on for a month. If they win, obviously, I think the first 2 weeks are group stages. So maybe if Ghana don't do very well, fingers crossed, we'll get Kudus back for that. But that definitely does heighten what we need to do in terms of the what's it called? In terms of the January transfer window. We had 9 until they moved Brighton to the 2nd. You're totally right. They moved it to the 2nd of January. So actually, yeah, I mean, the last game before Christmas, for me to play my Christmas songs, Jane, will be the 23rd of December, which is the Man United game. So anyway, do what Happy Amaret says and like it. If you want some free beer, beer52.com/West Ham. 8 exclusive craft beers. You can get dark or light beer. You can also have, they're exclusive. They're craft beers. You can get them anywhere in the world. And you can't get them in a group like that anywhere else in the world. Just cover the postage, £5.95. Get yourself some lovely beer for Christmas, and it's very good. Have a shave, beardy man. Yes, I will do. When that will be, I do not know. Anyway, until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, my lovely friends, and we'll see you in a couple of hours of Hammers Headlines. Irons! Come you Irons.